Like Jim said, I am Ashley Kim Weiss, and I've had the honor of serving in various roles within Together for Choice since its founding years. We are a national disability rights organization with a mission to protect and advance the rights of individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities to live, work, and thrive in a community or setting of their choice. I'm here today to make a case for choice and advocacy when it comes to choosing life options for adults with autism and other developmental disabilities. And here's why. It's estimated that there are about 7.4 million people living with intellectual and developmental disabilities in the United States. However, only about 22% or 1.58 million people are known to or served by IDD agencies. In California, which is my home state, as of January of this year, there were about 444,000 people in the IDD system, and about 45% of them are 18 years and older. Also, it shows that about 84% of all consumers are still living at home with parents or legal guardian. And this is not just unique to California. Most of the data that are out there that shows that the overwhelming majority of people with IDD are still living at home with their parents and family guardians without a sustainable long-term option. So this is exactly why we need different housing models for different needs and preferences. So let's go over some of these models and see how they work. Many of you are familiar with community group homes. I mean, this is the most common housing type available to people with disabilities in the United States. And just like everything in life, there are great homes and there are some horrific ones out there. The great ones I've seen in California are operated by Life Services Alternatives, also known as LSA, which manages and operates 15 high-quality community group homes throughout the Santa Clara County in Northern California. What's so great about LSA is that they provide optional in-home day program as well as community-based programs so that people who may not be able to participate in community-based programs due to their medical or behavioral conditions can still participate. Because everyone's looking for a safe and loving home, but what does that really look like? The homes can have all the best design features, but if the support services are bad and the residents are sitting on a couch all day and taking a nap or watching TV while staffers are on their phone and they're just there to babysit, then it's not going to be a successful model, and things are going to go downhill very quickly. So this is what I love about LSA homes is that the residents do have a full life. Next, we have Arc Jacksonville in Florida, which provides a full range of education, employment, and residential advocacy services to over 500 individuals with IDD through 13 programs and services, including 7 residential offerings. The biggest residential model is actually one of Florida's first tax credit funded affordable housing community called the Arc Village, which houses about 121 residents in 97 1 or 2 bedroom apartment units. As you can see here, rent and services costs are super affordable thanks to the public and private partnership arrangement. And their newest endeavor is the opening of the Lodge, which is Florida's first affordable community home focused on mental health services for individuals with IDD. And it's important to note that about 32% of people with IDD have a co-occurring mental illness. ARC is also investing in specialized aging support to provide care for individuals who are at risk or living with Alzheimer and related dementia. So they're basically covering everything and is supporting all stages of life. Next, this is a farmstead model called Bittersweet Farms, which is in Ohio. Um, it was actually founded in 1983 as the first autism farmstead community, specializing in supporting individuals with high behavioral needs. As many of you might know, that there aren't that many great models out there to support individuals with high behavioral needs in the United States. Its 80-acre main campus is in White House, which is very close to Toledo, Ohio. And half of the property is wooded with hiking trails connecting to the largest metro park in the region. So it has a lot of access to outdoor activities. It also has satellite programs in Pemberville and Lima. Bittersweet's overall philosophy of care is called MAPS, and it's incorporated into everything they do, including planning, activity, completion, and problem solving. So everything including meaning and motivation, aerobics and active engagement, partnership and purpose, and structure and support are all incorporated in this. Overall, Bittersweet provides residential services to 42 adults in their ICF homes, as well as home and community-based settings such as apartment units, group homes, and it also provides day services to 85 adults, and adolescent programs include transition program, summer camp, extended school year, as well as community social recreation programs. The program is tiered into recreational, pre-vocational, and employment offerings so that people are able to participate based on their preferences and abilities. And these are all these pictures from some of these programs, such as community gardens, creative arts, animal care, and various community-based programs. Here we have an excellent continuum of care model called Misericordia, which is in Chicago, Illinois. For those of you who may have read David Axelrod's New York Times opinion article a few years ago, this is where his daughter lives. Misericordia and over 1,200 dedicated employees serve about 600 residents from birth to end of life in the greater Chicago area. Currently, it has over 400 people on the wait list. On campus, Misericordia operates intermediate care facility homes, community living apartment building, aging homes with memory care, and off campus in the greater Chicago area, Misericordia operates about 14 community group homes. And the good news is Misericordia is currently building additional ICF homes, which will increase capacity by 150, bringing the total number of residents to 750, hopefully by next year. Residents receive individualized support, such as specialized behavioral support, medical services, such as dental, PT, OT, employment, and recreational programs. So I'd like you to meet Mark. Mark lived in his own place in the suburb of Chicago on his own for many years. He worked at Blue Cross Blue Shield for 34 years and had a very nice, and supportive neighbors in his neighborhood. But he really didn't have much to talk about with them as they had nothing in common. So for a very long time, he felt very lonely and isolated living on his own, even though he was able to live on his own. He said that he was very isolated and lonely, especially on weekends when he wasn't working. Then one day, he visited his cousin who was living at Misericordia and attended Misericordia's family festival. And he thought it would be really fun to live there. So he expressed his interest, and eventually he was able to move into a community living facility, which is an apartment complex for 50 residents who are very, very independent. And now he has so many friends. His life is so full. His life is filled with so many activities and connections that he never had when he lived on his own. And this is exactly what we want for our lives, right? For ourselves. So, when he was telling me about his retirement life, I told him how much I love to have a retirement life like his. And he said that his siblings tell him the same thing all the time, that everyone he knows wants the life that he has. And that's such a beautiful thing to know that, you're set for life with the community that loves you, that cares about you, and you are never alone.
The portion of this presentation, The Case for Choice and Advocacy by Ashley Kim Weiss, Executive Director of Together for Choice, was brought to you by Financial and Life Planning Summit for Parents of a Child with a Disability, hosted by James Lang, CPA Attorney. You can find more information at disabledchildplanning.com.